The most successful Real Housewives franchise in Africa. The Real Housewives of Durban wrapped up season 4 on Wednesday. Now, there's been some heated and dramatic moments in the reunion. Has left many questions about the future of long-standing members on the show. Now, one of the favorites, of course, is Sorisha Naidoo, who's been with the show for the past 4 years. And this morning we reflect on her journey, not only as a reality TV star, but also as a businesswoman, a philanthropist, a wife, and a mother. Sorisha, welcome to Newzroom Afrika, and a good morning to you.
Good morning, Naledi. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I think that for a lot of women in the country, and certainly some men that might not want to admit it, this has been a very exciting 4 years watching the Real Housewives of Durban. Why do you think the franchise has been so successful, particularly the Real Housewives of Durban, when not so many have been very successful in our country, seemingly?
I know that is going to seem unfathomable, but a lot of men do watch it, like you say. I meet a lot of women out there who say, my husband and I watch the show every week. And it always surprises me because I was like, oh my God, your husband watches as well. So I love the fact that we've also managed to get the male audience to watch Real Housewives. And I think the reason it's been successful, nationally and hopefully soon internationally, is because we have a good production team. And, you're only as good as your production. And if your production do not have their ducks in a row, I think the entire thing would fall apart. So for me, firmly, I feel it takes a beautiful cast and lots of different personalities and a good team and good directors to actually master the art to make sure everybody's heard and seen.
Yeah. I must tell you that I think any woman who watches is envious of all the fashion that must be so much fun. And talk to us about, just that experience and all the creativity that comes with, constantly needing to create something so beautiful. And then the conflict, I mean, is all of that real?
Unfortunately, the conflict is real. I get that question all the time. People stop me at the mall or at school and say, is your show scripted? And I'm like, no, it's definitely not scripted, because when we fight on the show, we're fighting on the show. When we argue, we're arguing. When we're serious, we're serious. The only thing that the directors do or play a part in is when they say, okay, I see that you did not have a great time with so-and-so on this episode. Would you like to hash it out? So you have the option to say yes or no. You can say, no, I don't want to talk to her. So basically, they literally pick up on the energy, on the vibes, and they see who's going to want to talk to who. And obviously, there's going to be drama. You're putting all these women together. We all have different personalities. There's definitely going to be drama.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes, though, when we show off, I suppose, the opulence, right, that comes with... And the thing is, it's expected with these sort of shows, right, that there'd be this show of opulence. Whether that's real, firstly, for all the women, and also what you want that message to be for South Africans. I mean, we do live in an unequal society. What do you want those images to say to South Africans?
This is what I've loved about Real Housewives of Durban, is that we've got a sect of women. Not everybody has this wealthy lifestyle, but they are wealthy in their own rights in a country. For me, if you wake up in a warm bed, if you have food on the table and you're taking your kids to school in a vehicle, you're set. So the idea of wealthy in South Africa has to be re-looked at, re-ideated, in the sense that wealthy means you can live your life freely. You have a plate of hot food, so I think we need to change the dynamic of how that's seen, because yes, it's great to see all the opulence, but being in a third world country, we need to actually understand what we need to show and how much people need to see, because people need to appreciate that waking up in the morning and getting out of bed in a healthy state is wealth. Yeah. So it's a lot to take in. And the idea of us just watching a show of just opulence, I think, would be crazy. So I love that not everybody is wealthy, but people have different abilities of wealth. We need to, and that's how the production has diversified it. So you're not going to see everyone's home. You're not going to see everyone's car.
What does it feel like, though, to have your private life so public? I mean, we're watching the show and we're able to see people discuss some of the most private elements of their lives, their interactions with their husbands and children, and all of that coming, coming, you know, just these horrible conversations sometimes. Does it ever feel invasive? How do you deal with that?
Naledi, my first year, I felt, you know, it was tough because you got to put yourself out there. And for me, the first year was the hardest. But as we got into it, I feel season 4 was definitely my hardest because I feel I took quite a few knocks. And it was difficult to watch, you know, sometimes watching it. You'll never believe me, but you know, some of my classmates and my friends on the show, I said to them, guys, I couldn't watch like a few episodes. I kind of skipped episodes, and they kept saying to me, you gotta watch it because you're going into reunion. And, you know, all you had to do is just get on Twitter and, you know, like you feel like you've watched it. And it's a very hard place to be in, watching yourself, sometimes being absolutely like, you know, villainous, and sometimes being put in a victim situation. But you know, that's what life is about. It's a learning curve of seeing different sides of yourself. And I think that's what the show has taught me. It's like, I can be a villain. I can be a people pleaser. I can stand up for myself. It's different roads.
Yeah, I think we're going to move towards wrapping it up. But of course, we watched the final episode this week. And I mean, I can only just imagine the numbers that this show is getting, because the viewership, the interest, the conversations that is being sparked by South Africans just by watching you ladies living your normal lives is astronomical. But it was a dramatic ending. Would you do this again?
I did say that I probably wouldn't. I need some time to understand, you know, what has happened and to process it. But I always said to production, it would really depend on like a huge shakeup. It would depend on a shakeup, because I don't think I'd want to put myself in the situation where I'm surrounded by women who can't be aspirational, who don't want to get to the point of moving on, and giving people the chance to say, hey, let's try and work through this. So I feel, yeah, I'm an absolute two minds right now.
Okay. Some sauce at the end of that discussion. Sorisha, thank you so much for speaking to us. Sorisha Naidoo is, of course, a businesswoman, philanthropist, as well as one of the cast members of the Real Housewives of Durban.